Modern versus classic controls. Which is better? By Maximilian Dude. Fighting game connoisseur and I think programmer too. I believe he worked on KI. As either a consultant or an actual game dev person. But we'll see what he's got.
Let's go! Modern controls. After a month of playing the game, I can tell you at the later portion of Diamond rank, I did not run into nearly anybody using modern controls. They go away completely. Are they bad? They're not. They're actually pretty good, and they're helping out a lot of people be okay at Street Fighter. But here's my argument, and we're going to talk about classic versus modern, and also controller versus arcade stick, because I think they share some similarities. So let's first talk about modern controls. I have not played with them at all, but they're doing what they need to do, which is to get people to play Street Fighter. They also have a caveat, right? We know that they take away attacks. We know that they nerf damage. Let's bring it back beyond that, because yeah, modern controls are actually good even at high level. Some characters really benefit from some modern control.
So basically, with the modern controls, with specials being more accessible, he's basically stating that it nerfs the damage output that they do, which I didn't know that. That's interesting, because I actually play on modern controls on Street Fighter 6. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, and then like you have combo or moves are slightly more accessible, despite the fact that like there's sacrificing some moves, which depending on the character, like some of those moves will be, I don't know, probably not. How do I put this? By getting rid of certain moves, like, is that a bad thing? I think that's because if the moves are minuscule at best, like why have them in that set? Aside from the fact that they're, you know, a part of that character's kit. You've never tried modern. Modern controls makes some things impossible possible. Sure. But like at the end of the day though, at high level play, are we going to see classic controls? Because the people that are going to be entering in these tournaments, like, how many of them are actually going to be playing in modern controls? You think so? High level play both depending on the character. True. Like some characters' kits are actually insane. Guile has a really amazing kit that I think actually does better with the modern controls. I don't think that's controversial. I think that might be true. But at the same time, like, is it even Daigo played modern? See, I didn't. Wait, Daigo the like Evo Highlight 37? Daigo? He does. Okay. I have not been keeping track of the Japanese Street Fighter community. I know that Modern has made it more accessible to a wider array of players, which I think is good. But at the end of the day, I think that the people that prefer Classic are still going to be at the top of the ranks. Daigo using Modern, I think, doesn't change anything. I think Daigo is Daigo. Daigo is just good with whatever he does. He can't beat a level 8 Ryu. He's probably back to classic controls, to be honest. Probably. I think a lot of the high level like Evo participants tried Modern and probably switched back. Because in order to like understand, because if they're going to be running into Modern players, you need to be able to understand how Modern plays. And yeah, there's going to be quick inputs, and that only has to, and the players with the experience are always going to be the ones that are going to come on top of things, regardless of whether it's easier. Hey, new King of Fighters DLC, and nobody told me.
For sure. And there is a couple of things at high level that make them good. But let's talk about the actual reason behind it. And the reason behind modern controls. Why would the game have modern controls? Because you can't do special moves in Street Fighter. Ultimately, they've balanced it where it can be usable for even the highest level, even if you know how to do the special moves. But let's be real. Modern controls exist because you can't do a Dragon Punch, you can't do a Fireball, you can't do a Reverse Fireball, you cannot do these motions. A lot of people still, of the 2 million people that have bought Street Fighter 6 now, just can't do
I didn't even take that into consideration.
the special moves consistently. So they're bad at it. SPDs, whatnot. Yeah, SPDs, there's an argument there because SPDs is technically a difficult motion. So they want everyone to have fun. Here's the funny thing about people complaining about modern controls. The funny thing about all the complaints that happen is that I'm really not surprised. It is technically a difficult motion. So they want everyone to have.
Yeah, I actually didn't even consider the motions itself as a barrier to entry for some people. Which, again, opens up the game to a wider audience.
Have fun. Here's the funny thing about people complaining about modern controls. The funny thing about all the complaints that happen is that these are 100% from low ranks, right? This is like a silver, a bronze, maybe gold. Some of those players are complaining that they're running into too many people using modern controls. They see somebody fighting with modern controls and they think that is absolute bullshit. I have to work for my special moves and you don't, you piece of shit bitch. What's funny about that to me is that people...
I don't think that's maybe this is a case where the loudest people are the ones that are probably the ones that are getting heard. I don't actually think that that is the crux for the hate for modern controls. I only react like that when I get dragon punched at the speed of light. Fair. But like, and he even says it, like, this is it's a low skill issue. Like in terms of it's a low rank issue. Sorry, I don't want to misinterpret his word there. Which means like it goes away in high rank.
I have to work for my. Some of those players are complaining that they're running into too many people using modern controls. Maybe gold. Some of those players, these are 100% from low ranks, right? This is like a silver, a bronze, maybe gold. Some of those players are complaining that they're running into too many people using modern controls. They see somebody fighting with modern controls and they think that is absolute bullshit. I have to work for my special moves and you don't, you piece of shit bitch. What's
Yeah, I don't think that is. I think he's putting in the I think he's putting into emphasis that it's a low rank issue. I don't think anybody in the higher ranks are actually like maybe gold and above are dealing with this issue because I believe, and I'm not saying that I'm correct in this. It's just a speculation. I think there's a cutoff in terms of the modern control people are still going to be gold or below. I think the diamond players that are playing other diamond players are all playing in classic controls. You don't think so? I mean, I know you're really good. Like, how often do you like what rank are you? Well, high platinum, I still see some wild moderns. Okay. Like, how often? Actually, I should ask this question. It depends on the character, honestly. Yeah. Guile for sure. Yeah, like I said, like Guile benefits from playing in with modern settings, modern controls. But I get. I have not partaken in the rank journey. So, how is rank determined? Obviously by wins, but it is there two different settings for, like, is your rank with the character platinum regardless of what controls you use, or is there a separate rank per setting? They're separate. Okay. No, it's different. So they could. Interesting. Okay. So it doesn't matter what controls you use. The rank is still the same. Okay. You can use whatever you want. Interesting. Okay. But the individual, but the ranks themselves are bound to the character. So you might be gold, or you might be platinum with Guile, but you're going to. Okay, gotcha. So really, the ranking is just your proficiency with each of the characters. Okay, I understand. That is interesting. I'm not a Street Fighter player, to be honest. I know. I know your game is. I know your game is Tekken. But I mean, if I like a fellow fighting game player's input is still valuable regardless of the game. Their specialty is.
Funny about that to me is that people look at special moves being free to use on modern controls as doing special moves means that you're good at Street Fighter. The majority of people at lower ranks see modern controls and think that if this guy is doing easy special moves, fuck, I'm doing what is actually difficult. Dragon punches and SPDs and fireballs. I'm good at Street Fighter. I can do these things. People actually think that doing special moves makes you good at Street Fighter.
It doesn't. It most certainly does not. Being on a win streak is what tells you you're good at Street Fighter.
And that's what I'm trying to boil this down to. No, because you know how to do special moves does not make you good at Street Fighter.
Yeah, and also just because you can throw supers doesn't mean they're going to land either. It's knowing when to execute is what makes you good at fighting games.
This really reminds me of the same exact thing going back to Street Fighter 4, where everyone complained that I cannot do.
So many things to consider. You could be good at combos, but garbage at movement. Good at movement, but garbage at combos. Garbage at knowing when is your turn, punishing, etc. Exactly. Exactly.
One frame.
It's never just knowing how to do X. It's there's so many variables that need to be taken in consideration when it comes to knowing being good at fighting games. Like I played a bunch of casual matches earlier on stream. And I was still making really bad calls that costed me rounds. And then there were moments where I was just super pressured and I had to try to get out of those pressure situations. Like, you're still going to have those moments. Exactly.
Link combos. That is the reason I cannot do one frame link combos. That is the reason I'm bad at Street Fighter. I can't do one frame link combos. I will never use modern controls. I will do my special inputs manually because that is very hard to do. This is a sentiment that's echoing from people that are relatively new to fighting games, but probably feel like they're really good at them.
Switch characters.
Which exists. the basement warrior existed for games like Soul Calibur back in the day. So modern controls,
they still exist even now. Like, you can't do it. Pick someone who doesn't have it. I think he's just using that as an example. I hate charge. I don't play charge. Yeah. That is fair. Charge is a a unique, what's the phrase I want to use? It's an acquired taste, rather. And the characters that do it are great, but they're not fun to execute. I totally feel like I am.
Upsetting people comes from a mentality where you feel like doing special moves is what makes you good at Street Fighter. Literally not that. Like, who cares if you know how to do anybody at high level?
Yeah, this dude is getting bodied.
That's not the thing that makes modern controls good. What makes modern controls good is like free cross-cut DPs, sure, a mitigation of special moves, and also being able to do supers with one fucking button. That is good, okay? That is the thing that makes modern controls actually good, is immediate supers and immediate level 3s for reactions. But people at lower level aren't using it for that shit, dude. People are just using modern controls so they can actually do the special moves they can't do, so that their fingers don't bleed when they like are mashing these buttons and shit. So to me, the entire
I suffer from this issue as well, and it's I will play fighting games until I have a hole in my thumb.
controls actually good is immediate supers and immediate level 3s for reactions. But people at lower level aren't using it for that shit, dude. People are just using modern controls so they can actually do the special moves they can't do, so that their fingers don't bleed when they like are mashing these buttons and shit. So to me, the entire argument against modern controls is completely bogus. And I boiled down into the argument that like, I'm fine with it if people are just playing the game. I've been beaten by people using modern controls in Diamond. I don't give a shit. It wasn't the modern controls that made them good, dude. They outzoned me. They played proper spacing and footsies. They teched my throws. They DI'd my ass in the corner. There's plenty of other things that fucked me up in that round outside of them using modern controls. There's so many caveats to modern controls anyway that I don't... it nerfs the game. In several ways, it actively nerfs the game. And in only some very minor high-level case scenarios is modern
holy
controls actually
crap,
good.
E-Honda is
Speaking about
crazy.
Modern and classic versus arcade stick and, you know, one of these or some shit.
Yeah, this is just the new iteration of controller versus modern stick or arcade stick. That is actually what is going on.
Shit. I feel like I have to talk about this every once in a while when it comes to fighting games, because you get the question of like, do I play with the modern layout or do I play with the, you know, classic layout? Excuse my arcade stick, it's literally falling apart. And
oh no,
please understand that some people will still argue that if you're using one of these, you're like a bitch ass scrub, right? Not as much anymore, because some of the best players in the world use controller. It's kind of gone away. So that mentality is still sort of stuck in a vibe from Street Fighter 4. And why does that exist? And I've explained this before. It exists because you spent $150 on an arcade stick. You're not specifically good at Street Fighter. You think that the arcade stick's gonna make you good. You need to justify your purchase. So we heard that a lot, that you using a controller makes you a bitch ass scrub, right?
Not as much because the hate is on hitboxes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't even deny that.
In the exact same way you using modern control, a lot that think that the arcade stick's gonna make you good, you need to justify your purchase. So we heard that a lot, that you using a controller makes you a bitch ass scrub, right? In the exact same way you using modern controls makes you a bitch ass scrub. So if we're talking about what controller do you need to use for Street Fighter 6, whatever's easier, dude. There are things that make fighting games easier on pad. There are things that make fighting games easier on stick. This is a 6-button fighting game. I like playing 6-button fighting games on stick, but you can change that with modern controls and play on pad. It is completely preference, right? 100% preference. I just like arcade stick because there's a lot of motion, movement, and mobility with my hands. I feel like I'm back at the arcades in some way. So I like that. I like the fact that it feels like...
Also, I think, and also to put in, I said that Guile benefits the most from modern controls. Luke does as well. And he's like the poster boy of the game. So it kind of makes sense. They don't have time to call out controllers. it just kind of dawned on me that like that Luke also benefits as well. I don't think I can't think of any other like characters that do, but I think Guile and Luke are probably the main offenders of taking advantage of modern controls.
Like, I am preserving a legacy.
Geef, that's true. I completely forgot about the Geefster. Yeah, those. Well, hold on. I've seen a lot of videos with crazy instant grabs. Yeah, but I've also seen Geef grab somebody that was half the fighting screen away. Like they just teleport into his hands, and he just takes out a quarter of their health. I've literally seen this, sir. but I do agree that because of the fact that his people just magnetize to his hands makes his modern controls even more busted. I don't know too many videos about Tekken 8 recently. I forgot about Street Fighter. Oh no, you're good, man. Next time you do a Tekken 8 thing on your stream and I'll heckle you. I think E Honda, any charge character, I think really benefits from modern controls, honestly, because I know E Honda has some charge mechanics. I'm trying to think, like Chun-Li probably benefits from it as well.
And I've said this many times before, arcade sticks aren't really here specifically to make you better at Street Fighter. They're just preserving a legacy, right? They're just kind of a remembrance back to arcade days. And if you like the arcade style controls, they're still available in some way. Because there is other ways that will make you actually better at fighting games like hitbox and stuff like that. There is statistical advantages to things like hitbox in some way. So again, there is an echo of similarity between people that bitch about, I don't use modern controls, those guys are scrubs, to the same.
I've seen mostly Guile, Geef, and Ken with modern controls, surprisingly. That's fair. Honestly, I think the Ken one is... Ken with modern is surprising. I mean, I've played Ken with modern, and like all of the casual matches I had this afternoon, I don't think I ran into another modern Ken. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Way there has.
I mean, there's how many people playing the game? Like 2 million people. So there's bound to be like some unicorns out there. Yeah, but those are the usual suspects that I would see. Definitely Guile and Geef.
Has been in the past. I don't use a controller. Those guys are scrubs. I use an arcade stick because I'm good at the game, right? All it comes down is people are trying to justify their lower skill level in a game in some way and trying to like make up for it. And I get it, right? I've fucking been there, bro. Back in the day, I definitely was a person back in the Third Strike days where if somebody showed up with a controller, you grabbed all your friends, you took them out to the back alley, you beat the shit out of them to a bloody pulp. We don't know if they're alive or not, and you just left their body there. That's just the way it worked back in the day.
I feel like this is an edit in. Because I feel like he said the exact same thing to what's his name? Blanca players. I feel like he said the exact same thing to Blanca players.
get it. I've grown up now, right? I've grown up now. So we don't do that shit anymore. Those were the arcade days. If fighting games are trying to become accessible, that's not a problem. All fighting games are going to become easier than the one before, like almost every single one. As long as the game expands in a way that allows for new things and new creative elements for the player to express themselves, and still offers a certain level of challenge to it, whether it's decision making, like Street Fighter 6 is the perfect example of that. Nothing in Street Fighter 6 is really hard. It's just a lot of decision making that's really difficult.
Yep.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. I think that's one of the best things we can do for fighting games, and I think it's wonderfully accessible that we can still have modern control.
Yeah, there's so many like counters and just defensive stuff in general in Street Fighter 6 that just adds so much layer of complexity to the fighting games. It's like I feel really good about Street Fighter 6. This is going to go, I feel like this is going to go really far.
And I can still run into a person or two in diamond ranks on my way to master and have them beat me. And I don't look at modern controls as the thing that beat me. It was the spacing, it was the knowledge, it was the matchup, it was all the other things in the exact same way that, trust me, dude, if you were bad at Street Fighter 4, it wasn't the fact that you couldn't do one frame links. Justin Wong on modern controls is a menace.
Wait, Wong? Justin Wong is playing on modern? Or at least was? How long ago was this? This was a week ago. Holy crap. I didn't realize. Of course he would.
I want you to, from that sentence, I want you to remove on modern controls so that your sentence becomes Justin Wong is a goddamn menace. And yeah, that's right. Justin Wong using any fucking controller ever will beat the shit out of almost everybody. One of the greatest fighting game players to ever grace the genre is a menace using modern controls or classic controls. I'm really not surprised.
Oh, that was fun. All right, that's the link to this video. Be sure to go there and like and subscribe if you liked this. And Max, you're always so on point with a lot of your takes. It is awesome. I feel like I ended up agreeing with a lot of that and in a lighthearted way. So yeah, good job, guy.